All right, guys, looks like we are streaming, so let me see here. Just a second here. All right, so we're going to be talking about the storm system coming up here as we head into the weekend here across the Ohio Valley. And so we are going to look at some of the different maps and things for that system. And so going on over, this is a little different for me because usually I can see my screen and what I'm looking at, but right now I cannot. So I'm still I'm still a little bit new to this, so I'm still trying to figure it out here. So anyways, let's go on over and take a look at the current upper level heights here as we get into the weekend, or the vorticity. So we take a look here at the upper levels, and you can see here's our system. Actually, I'm going to go on over to this, and this is what we are currently seeing the weekend that will eventually come on shore. And so that's kind of what we have our eye on right now. That's going to be something interesting to watch because that's not on shore yet. So we haven't fully sampled that. So it'll be interesting over the next 12 hours or so to see if, we are, if data changes once we sample that. And so going on over, just a second, guys. I'm going to try to see. Oops, that's not what I want. Like I said, I'm new to this, so give me just a second. So, all right. So going on over, this is the upper level vorticity. Here's our trough out here today that is off the west coast, and this is eventually going to make its way off to the east here. So as we work on into, and I'm going to click through this. As we work on into tomorrow, here's the trough coming on to California. You can see the upper level low sitting here. And as we continue on into the daytime hours tomorrow into the afternoon and evening, notice this trough starting to come down across the Four Corners region. And as we head on into Saturday, here comes the upper level low coming across eastern portions of Kansas. And you can see this upper level energy coming on in. And this is pretty impressive upper level energy, really, as it comes on in. Some very strong vorticity associated with this, and this is the NAM model. As you can see, this vorticity, so if you're not familiar with what vorticity is, it's basically lifting and stretching of air. So that's kind of helping lift things aloft as the clouds and the precipitation, allowing the clouds and precipitation to form. And as you're continuing on into Saturday, going into Sunday, here comes your upper level low coming on through. And you can see the strong system associated with that. So if we take a look here, and we'll switch on over to the precipitation and surface pressure. So as we head on into Saturday, you can see here's the area of low pressure. It's actually off the screen to the southwest. And by Saturday afternoon, and this is the Euro model, you can see the area of low pressure to the southeast of Kansas City. And by Saturday afternoon, we actually have a warm front that's lifting to the north. And you get this area of snowfall developing off to the north of the warm front. And so you can see where some of these, darker blues and some of the purples are. And you can see that that's where the heaviest snowfall will be. And as we continue on into Sunday afternoon or Saturday afternoon to Saturday evening here, you've got snowfall along in north and northeast of the low and north and northeast of the warm front. And we've actually got an area of high pressure that's off to the northeast, providing us with that cold air that precipitation is going to run into. And so as we work in the Sunday morning by 7 a.m. Eastern, you can see we've got snowfall stretching out into portions of Ohio, Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, up into Wisconsin as well. And we continue Sunday evening into Sunday night. That low's moving off to kind of the east and southeast. We've got snow more across northern Indiana into Ohio. Now the big crucial question is going to be, where is this area of low pressure going to end up tracking? And the models are in pretty good agreement really with the center of low pressure, and I'll show you more on that in just a second. But as you get up under the area of low pressure, you're going to have warm air coming in. So as you can see, that's going to change precipitation types over to rainfall where that warmer air is, and then it looks like over to snowfall. The good news, at least with what we're seeing now, is a lot of this looks more like either snow or rain, so you're not getting a tremendous amount of like an ice threat with this storm, which, you know, we didn't necessarily have one the last storm we had last, you know, Sunday or Saturday, Sunday, but we did get a little bit. Nonetheless, hopefully that will not be as much of a threat as this swings on through here. If we go on over, this is something we look at. So this is GEFS, basically the GFS Ensemble data. And so what we're looking at here, this is the surface pressure. And what you're looking at is where all these little numbers, they might be kind of hard to see, but where we've got these little numbers plotted, or where this model has them plotted, rather, that's where we're, each ensemble from the GFS, that's where it's expecting the center of low pressure to be. Now you can see the ensemble mean out here where it's centered right near St. Louis as we work on into about midnight Sunday. But you can see there are a few still kind of outlying. It's pretty impressive really to see that we've got all these areas of low pressure from the ensemble data still roughly over 48 hours out, and 48 to 60 hours out, and they're all clustered together like this, and really the Euro is a lot like this as well. So, you know, that's pretty impressive to see that, where we're not seeing areas of low pressure wanting to be down into the Boot Hill and up into, you know, north central Illinois or out into western Indiana, and they're all clustered in one area. So that gives us a little bit more confidence that, you know, what the models are showing here already, even a couple 2.5 days or 3 days out, that they're going to be a little bit more trustworthy, at least from my perspective here. So taking a look, we'll look at a couple things as far as snowfall is concerned. So this is the Weather Prediction Center. They basically have some models that they basically kind of, I don't want to say blend together, but they use to issue both forecasts and they issue probability outlooks. I really like probabilities. I'm a big probability guy, as I think most meteorologists are. But taking a look at a couple of these, this is the probability of 4 inches or greater of accumulating snowfall over 72 hours. And basically this is just the forecast on through Sunday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. And you can see that little orangish reddish dot here right from Chicago up to Waukegan is basically an 80 to 90% probability of 4 inches or more. Your 50% probability extends down here into north central Indiana and kind of up near the I-80 corridor into Illinois, eastern portions of Iowa, and then back down towards I-70 into, you know, central portions of Ohio, very eastern portions of Illinois. So, or excuse me, eastern portions of Indiana. So all this area generally in the blue is a 50% probability or greater of 4 inches plus. And if we take a look and we go to the next step, this is the probability of 8 inches or greater of accumulating snowfall. And while you can see it's not nearly as impressive, there are some areas of looks like 5 to 10 and even 20, you know, up to 20 to 30 right over the Chicagoland area there. So that's kind of, you can see where models are kind of suggesting that higher forecast of snowfall is going to be. If we take a look at the NWS blend of models, and again, this is pretty early, so we don't, you know, we're not trying to necessarily put numbers on anything. And I think it's crucial not to just yet, especially given that the system is not on board. But you can kind of see where the models are suggesting, and this is a model blend, keep in mind, that the heaviest snowfall is out across northeastern Illinois, northern Indiana, northwestern Ohio. And I do think, you know, areas of 3 to 6 inches are definitely possible, and perhaps more. And that's something only time will tell. And if we take a look, this is the latest NDFD, which is basically the National Weather Service forecast. You can see where the snowfall is right now, or where the snowfall is forecast by the National Weather Service, and it kind of agrees with the Weather Prediction Center and with the NWS blend, which is not a shock since it's the NWS blend. But you can see, I mean, they've got a pretty widespread area from southern Wisconsin into Illinois, northern Illinois, especially north of I-80, and then into the northern portions of Indiana, northern half or so of Indiana into Ohio, of 3 to 6 inches, some localized areas more. Is there potential for this to be a heavier snowfall? Absolutely. Is there still potential for this to do something and, you know, the models be totally wrong at this point, being that for the most part, it is still offshore. There's still that possibility we could see some shifts with this. And obviously, even when it comes onshore, there's a lot of different variables that come into are involved with this that as we continue into the next couple of days will have to be ironed out. One other thing I really like to look at here is the SIPS analog guidance. And this is something basically saying, okay, based on how the current weather, basically the weather pattern is, we take the last, in this case, 15 times, the last 15 times that closely resembles the weather plot or the weather data of today, and we compare that to those last 15 times, and this is what it looks like. And you can see the heaviest snowfall within this. And keep in mind, this is just one day. We could go out to another day, but unfortunately, there's some data missing within these sets. So, but just giving you a general idea as we work on into the 30th. Into the 30th and 31st, this is where the heaviest snowfall is expected by the analog data. So based on past events, basically. So you can see, I mean, there's a lot of agreement there within this data that there's going to be some heavy snowfall across portions of the, the forecast area as we get on into the weekend. Now, is there potential for problems? Sure there are. So one thing that I've been looking at, and one thing I look at a lot here is, let me find it, is the upper level moisture, especially at 700 millibars, because one of the crucial things, and one of the things that the forecast models struggled with extremely this weekend was the dry air that we had in place. They were not doing well with the dry air, whether it was anticipation or of it or the now, when it was occurring. They were still struggling with it. And if we take a look at this is 700 millibar relative humidity, and this is going to give us a pretty good idea of how much moisture is in the air. And where you've got some of those, kind of the browns and tans and the darker colors, that's where you've got dry air, and where you've got the greens and the blues, that's where you have more moist air. So as we work on into Saturday morning, here comes our system coming out of the south, and something kind of cool with it, you can kind of see this little curly Q, that's associated with that area of low pressure. If you remember earlier, we showed you the upper level low. And so there's that curly Q. One thing to notice with this is coming into Missouri. Notice the dry air coming up, and this would be what we would associate a dry slot with, is this mid-level dry air starting to work on in between about 750 and 500 millibars. And as we continue on into Saturday afternoon, your moisture is spreading up into Illinois, into Indiana, into southern Wisconsin. As while it's not as pronounced, notice this dry slot is trying to work all the way up into Illinois here. It's pretty minute, but it's there. And as we continue on into early Sunday morning by 1 a.m. and into 4 to 5 a.m., it's kind of mixing out and becoming more saturated, but it's going to be something to watch, because obviously if this dry slot punches north into more of northern Illinois and into northern Indiana, then snow totals are going to take a hit from that. And so that's going to be something, pretty important to watch, will be that dry air that could possibly intrude and really kind of allow dry air aloft, and it would create your DGZ, your growth zone for snowflakes. It could really allow that to become dry and not saturate, and you end up not getting snow growth. And so you really end up with problems developing snow, or developing, a lot of times when you associate heavy snowfall, you associate that with the big snowflakes, and you really need either a lot of moisture, a good saturated area in that snow growth region in the atmosphere, or you need a good, or you need a good depth to that region, and sometimes you just don't get that. But so that's kind of what we're looking at. That could be one problem with this that we could see. Obviously, with it not being on shore, the other problem is it comes on shore and models don't really have as good of a grip on it as we expect it to. With that being said, with this last system, it didn't turn out too bad. It turned out pretty well overall, even though there were some timing issues with snowfall arrival and things like that. The thing to consider with that is it did pretty well, and that storm was offshore at the time. It stayed consistent through the time the storm came onshore, and really persistent as the storm moved on through as well. And while it wasn't perfect, and no model is, there's no perfect forecast model. Forecast models only give you a good way to be wrong. But it's just a tool we have. And so that's kind of what we're looking at here. Let's go back over, and I'm going to switch over to a different model here. We'll switch to the NAM. And again, as far as timing of this is concerned, as we start to work on into the weekend, we'll go over this one last time here. As we work on into the weekend, getting on into Friday, you can see tomorrow we're dry across the region. But as we get into Saturday, this is Saturday afternoon by about 4 p.m. Excuse me, and you can see we've just got rain down here in St. Louis out towards Missouri. You can see on the north side of this northern shield of rain as it works into the colder air, starting to change over to some wintry precipitation. And then Friday evening, obviously as we get towards the 7 p.m. time frame, not only is the sun setting, and we're losing solar insolation, we're losing that sunshine, so temperatures are falling, and you're turning this over to more snowfall across northern Illinois. So as we work into Saturday evening, Saturday night, you're seeing that snowfall in northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin, perhaps a little bit of a band out into Indiana as well. And then we continue into Sunday early morning by 1, 2, 3 a.m. into 4 and 5 a.m. That snow spreading on across Ohio. Maybe a little bit of snow down here in southern Ohio initially, but then that low comes in, and as warm air works up under that low, probably changes southern Ohio, if this were the correct track and models were perfect in a perfect world, over to rainfall, while you're still seeing some snowfall on the north side of this low across the northern Ohio Valley out into eastern Ohio. And then as we work into Sunday afternoon, this low still coming through, producing some heavier banding out there, and then is out of here Sunday night on into Monday. So that's kind of what we're looking at this weekend. I mean, like I said, it really does have the possibility of being a more potentially significant system. If we take a look at the GFS, let me zoom in on this. I don't know why it zoomed out. We take a look at the ensembles, and this is at a 10-to-1 ratio, and we take a look here on through the weekend, and you can see this is basically the GFS ensemble saying you have a better chance of exceeding 3 inches, and where you see the red, that's a 100% chance. And that's just based off its ensemble members. And so you can see, I mean, there's a pretty good chance out here of some 3 inches or more of snowfall. And then if you take a look at exceeding 6 inches, you can see, again, there's the GFS with that little dot right over Chicago. Right now, models really kind of favoring that Chicagoland area. Would be interesting to see as this moves through, if we would see some lake-enhanced snowfall potentially bumping up those totals right there. And perhaps, that's even why the models are a little bit heavier and a little bit more leaning towards the Chicagoland area for some of those better potential, or that better potential of heavier snowfall in those locations. So that's kind of what we're looking at here this afternoon. Just wanted to bring everyone kind of a quick discussion of it. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. This is something that's somewhat new to us. We're still kind of trying to figure it out here and get everything to flow exactly how we want it. And subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, check us out on LinkedIn if you're on LinkedIn. If you're across the Ohio Valley, something we do every Monday, we have a subscription service that's $5 a month. And every Monday in the morning, we go through and do something somewhat similar to this, where we discuss basically the next 7 to 10 days of weather and kind of what we see coming down the pipe for the Ohio Valley Great Lakes region, and discuss it there. So if you like stuff like this might be something of interest to you. And we usually do that, like I said, we do that every Monday. Sometimes, like probably tomorrow, we'll have a special update on this system for what we call our Weather Watcher subscribers. So check us out there. And of course, if it's something like this and you're really interested in you have your own company, we also do weather consulting. So that's kind of our base of our business. And so shoot us over an email if you want more detailed forecasts with that. So, but overall, everybody, thanks for logging on, and we'll continue to do stuff like this, and we got some different plans for it. So, again, thanks for logging on. Have a great weekend, and enjoy the snow if you're going to get it.